Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to the NoDQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for September 30th, 2019. The first Raw of yet another new era, the season premiere of Monday Night Raw. We had a brand new Then Now Forever introduction signature video, and then we had a new opener with the band Skillet providing the music, and they also appeared in the video. And then we had the Pyro, that's correct, is back on WWE television. We have a brand new set, which looks like a skating half pipe, but hey, it looked pretty cool. I liked it. At least it's something. I do agree with some people that I miss the old school sets that were actually built instead of just a bunch of LED screens. I still like the fact that WWE changes it up a little bit. So any change is good. You got to change things up at least a little bit. We had brand new announcers. We had Vic Joseph, Dio Madden, who is quite the tall individual, and Jerry the King Lawler. What did you guys in the chat room think about Jerry Lawler being back, and what did you think about the new announcers overall? Who did you think did the best job, and who do you think did the worst job? So right off the bat, I want to give my opinion on it. I thought that they were okay. I thought Vic Joseph did a good job. I thought Lawler was fine, but still, I don't think Lawler should be there at this stage of the game. However, he is a veteran, and he can help the other guys move the show along. I felt like Dio Madden did absolutely nothing. Like, he did not stand out at all to me. And I would personally prefer two guys. I think ideally you want Vic Joseph as a play-by-play guy, but you need a really good heel color commentator to play off of him. Michael Wayne says Vic Joseph is the best while Dio is meh. And Colin Andrews says Vic did a dynamite job. Nice choice of words there. TGS says, do you still think Vic is a clone? I thought he was fine. I mean, he basically did the standard role that Michael Cole did, but I think he did good for his first night in. It was fine. I had no real issues with him. And Supernamic2121 says Jerry should be a heel. Calvin Bowman says Jerry Lawler did the best job. And Kim Hall says the new announcers were a nice change of pace. Dylan Falk says, I like your New Day shirt, Aaron. Well, thank you for that, Dylan. I mean, I'm not going to argue with that on that comment. Anyways, let's get to the main part of the show. We had Rey Mysterio come out. Dominic was at ringside. Rey talked about the match with Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship, which ended up not happening because Mysterio was quickly interrupted by the Beast, Brock Lesnar. Paul Jackson, 1988, with the $2 super chat says, the Raw ending was lame. Gave up Rey versus Seth for that. What was that? You have to wait and stay tuned to find out what that was all about. We had Lesnar come out. Lesnar got pyro for his entrance, of course, because he is the Beast, Brock Lesnar. Crowd booed Brock. Now, this was in Phoenix, Arizona, heavy Hispanic crowd, and this was a great opportunity to get some heel heat on Brock Lesnar. So I thought that this was really well done. Brock Lesnar came out there and beat the living hell out of Rey Mysterio. Gave him the F5, gave him a second F5, and then Lesnar went outside, stared at Dominic, and then grabbed Dominic, almost botched what I think was an F5 attempt. He got him up but dropped him almost, but he managed to recover, and then he threw Dominic into the ring post, got him in the ring, took him to Suplex City, hit an F5. Poor Dominic, the teenage son of Rey Mysterio, as the announcers kept pointing out. Lesnar would leave, and then he came back. He beat up the Mysterios some more. The announcers were talking about how this was borderline criminal what what Lesnar was doing, the dastardly Brock Lesnar. I mean, the angle was really well done. It clearly wasn't the worst beatdown we've ever seen on WWE television, but the announcers were trying their damnedest to make this sound like it was this terrible thing. And Lesnar was just really scary here. Like, I thought it was well done because Lesnar came off like a real beast, like this just absolute monster that nobody can stop. Lesnar even beat up Pat Buck for good measure. And then after the commercial break, we saw footage of Dominic being put on a stretcher. Rey Mysterio was crying. He was apologizing. I thought this was all really well done. Great way to open up the show, in my opinion. $2 super chat from The Rock's Jockstrap says, is Dominic a worker? He took some good bumps. WWE is having Dominic train to become a wrestler. That is the eventual goal for Dominic to be wrestling in WWE. So yeah, WWE's trying to get him ready to become a WWE superstar. And I'm sure at some point we're going to see Rey Mysterio team up with his son Dominic, and maybe even a heel turn at some point. Maybe this will eventually lead to a heel turn where Dominic's going to resent his father for having him get beat up by Brock Lesnar. So yeah, we're definitely going to see Dominic in the ring. I think it's just a matter of time. Power Packers 90 with a $10 super chat. So ladies and gentlemen, via the Ahmed Johnson Pearl River Plunge, Power Packers 90 is the No DQ super chat champion. Now remember, $5 super chat or more makes you the No DQ super chat champion. He says some crash booking, Rey Mysterio getting murdered by a big guy, swerves, Hogan versus Flair, adultery storyline, lackluster TV main event with no finish, and a mystery limousine return is a dud. This is now WCW, according to Power Packers 90. So do you guys agree with him? Do you think that this show felt like WCW? Leave a comment in the chat room and let us all know what you're thinking. Josh Mansfield with a $2 super chat thinks that Brock Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston will be interrupted by the Rey Mysterio appearance. Maybe Rey Mysterio getting payback on Lesnar. That is going to be really disappointing. If Lesnar versus Kofi Kingston ends with like a DQ or some kind of screwy finish where there's no title change, no decisive winner, I'm going to be let down. If it's anything other than Brock Lesnar beating Kofi to win the title, I'm going to be disappointed. So I'm just throwing that out there right now. I am really looking forward to SmackDown. The show is stacked. The Rock is coming back on Friday. I will be there, Staples Center, Los Angeles, California, with my longtime close friend, good old JM Jeff Meacham. We're going to do the No DQ live recap on Friday night. So make sure you guys subscribe. Hit that subscribe button and tell a friend. Please spread the word. Any word of mouth goes a long way. So please just let people know about NoDQ.com and the NoDQ YouTube channel. And click on that notification bell so you guys can get the updates as they become available. And then we got a $10 super chat from Ken Terminated by Google. He says, Rift, I am a 14-time super chat champion, which means I am the game and I am that damn good. And he says he nails Power Packers 90 with a sledge hammer to the face and gives him the suck it crotch top. And by that, Ken Terminated by Google, the new No DQ Super Chat champion. Thank you very much for that, Ken Terminated by Google. I very much appreciate the Super Chat. Marvin wants to know, what did I think about the new Raw theme song? I'm fine with it. I like Skillet. I have no problem with that being the new song for Raw. I much prefer Skillet over a lot of the current music that's out right now, so I'll take it. And GK with a $5 super chat, which makes GK the new No DQ super chat champion. He says, the commentary was bland, the wrestling was meh, and he says, other than the opening, the segments were all forgettable. He says, Miz TV sucked. He said he felt like Vince Russo booked the show. Ouch. What do you think about that, Virtue? For those of you that don't know, Virtue, who's part of Team No DQ, is very much part of the Russo brand. I wonder what he thinks about that comment. I think he's somewhere in the chat room. I'm not sure if I've seen him or not. Anyways, congratulations to GK via the John Morrison Starship Payne is the new NoDQ Super Chat champion of the entire NoDQ galaxy. I guess Virtue is not in the chat room, so thankfully he missed that comment because he would not be amused. I like the stage. Like I said, any change is good change. You gotta shake things up a little bit every now and then. And Calvin Bowman says he will be watching me and Jeff this Friday night. Well, thank you for that, Calvin. I do appreciate it. And we have 300 people watching live right now, so thank you guys for watching. And if you're enjoying the video, please subscribe and click on that notification bell. We had Sasha Banks versus Alexa Bliss. Alexa, interestingly enough, had pyro for her entrance. Becky came out right away to join the commentary team for this match. She had her steam pyro come back, and she stood on the table and taunted Sasha Banks during the match. And then we randomly had sirens go off, which I guess was Dominic being carried away in the ambulance. I was still disappointed, though, because, again, every time I hear the sirens, I think we're going to get Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. And every time I'm let down, I'm just hoping one of these days we'll get Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner come back. But tonight, it did not happen. Anyways, Sasha pulled a little trick out of the Eddie Guerrero playbook. She pretended that she was calling out to Bayley to help her. Alexa, like the stupid baby face she is, fell for it. And then Sasha took advantage of Alexa's leg and then pinned her while grabbing the tights. Man, these baby faces, they always fall for the heels. The heels always outsmart the baby faces. And not only that, but Sasha got distracted by Becky and still won the match. So the heels, they don't fall for the distraction from the baby faces, and they outsmart the baby faces. 2019 booking, ladies and gentlemen. Nico with the $2 super chat says, "Hey Aaron, this is just because I love you." Well, thank you for that, Nico. I do appreciate it very much. I appreciate the love and support. And The Rock's Jockstrap with a $2 super chat says, "The Rock take a bump for Bray on SmackDown? Austin wouldn't." I don't think we're going to see The Rock take a bump on SmackDown. I would love to see it. If Bray Wyatt took out The Rock with the mandible claw on SmackDown, that would be awesome. I would love it. But my gut feeling is The Rock's going to show up, do a quick promo, and then he's going to be off back to his mansion or whatever he's doing. Get on the plane to work on his next movie or TV project. It would be really amazing if that happened, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. I really think The Rock's just going to show up and make a quick cameo, and that will be that. I think WWE's lucky they're just getting him to show his face on the show. We had a brawl between Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, and then Becky cut a promo. She talked about how Sasha made it personal, but at Hell in a Cell, she's going to make it painful. And she said Retribution is coming around this Sunday at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view with only 3 matches. And Colin Andrew brings it up here with a $2 super chat. Perfect timing. He says, 6 days out from Hell in a Cell and only 3 matches announced? Yep. Only 3 matches announced for Hell in a Cell. That's going to be a pretty short no DQ predictions video unless they announce something last minute. I just don't like doing last minute videos, so we may end up doing a very short predictions video for this upcoming Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. We had Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler come out for their tag team title match, and then we had the typical Raw segment where they're just standing in the ring forever. We had a recap from last week's Raw. Seth Rollins cut a promo, said he's not surprised about what Brock Lesnar did, but he's still disappointed nonetheless because Brock Lesnar's a bastard and it's just out of line. Seth said he doesn't really have a game plan for Bray Wyatt. He says he will still manage to survive and prevail. That's his new catchphrase, I guess. Don't think it's going to win NoDQ.com year-end award for catchphrase of the year. Just throwing that out there. And then Seth said that Rey Mysterio will not be able to compete in the advertised Universal Championship match. However, Seth said that Rey Mysterio will get a Universal Championship match when he's ready to return. Plot twist, I don't think Rey's going to get that opportunity against Seth. But then again, maybe WWE will ruin everything with Bray Wyatt. Who knows? And then Seth said he promised a world championship match and somebody's going to step up and get a championship opportunity. Meanwhile, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, like I said, just stood there in the ring for 5 minutes as all this was going down. We had heavy machinery, a very game-heavy machinery against Roode and Ziggler. I thought it was a pretty good match. I mean, we had the champions retain. No surprise here, although Heavy Machinery got a strong showing. Otis looked good, showed off his power, did a double caterpillar, but it was not enough. Ziggler hit the zigzag to break up the compactor attempt, and then Bobby Roode hit the glorious DDT on Tucker for the champions to retain their titles. This was fine. I thought this was pretty good. We had not Rey Mysterio. We had the Miz come out. He had his pyro. This was the Miz TV segment. Before Miz brought out his guests, he offered his thoughts and well wishes to Rey Mysterio and Dominic. And then Miz brought out the Nature Boy Ric Flair, who complimented Miz on looking very fine in his fancy suit. Then we had Hulk Hogan come out, not alone. Hogan came out with the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. And Ric Flair joked about how he's tired of listening to Hulk Hogan's music for the past 30 years. And then Hogan started to cut a promo. And I thought this was great because Hogan could not just sit there and cut his promo. He had to stand up. He had to get in the zone for his promo. And then Ric Flair started getting angry at Hogan. They started going back and forth. They did their whole routine where Flair bounced off the ropes and was going to throw a punch at Hogan, but Hogan did the "you" point at Flair, and the crowd just started erupting at this point. Hogan and Flair were so great here, so much charisma between these two. They just blow everybody else in WWE out of the water. It just really shows, even Hogan and Flair pretty much in their 70s now. Hogan's pushing 70 and Flair's already there. These guys just, they still got it, like as far as promos go. And even Hogan and Flair at their ages, better promos than the current guys, more charisma than the current guys. Like nobody in WWE right now can touch these guys on the mic or charisma-wise. Crowd was chanting one more match, so that's how good these guys were, that these fans wanted to see two 70-year-old guys go at it. Hogan even joked that they aren't spring chickens anymore, yet the crowd chanted one more match. And then we got a big announcement here. The Miz announced that at Crown Jewel 2, it will be a 5-on-5 match. One team represented by Hulk Hogan and one team represented by Ric Flair. And if you thought this sounded familiar, it's because TNA actually did it first. WWE is copying a TNA match. Back in, I think, 2010 or 2011, I think it was 2010, there was a Lethal Lockdown match between Team Hogan and Team Flair. So we got WWE copying 2010 TNA. Wow. Mike D with a $5 super chat, which makes Mike D the brand new NoDQ super chat champion of the world. And we'll just say that he wins the championship via the Ric Flair figure 4 leg lock. And Mike D says, did you catch the mistake on Flair's entrance? It said 17-time champion on the stage graphics in the background. Yes, I did catch it, but I forgot to mention it. Yeah, when Ric Flair came out, it said 17-time world champion, even though The Miz announced him as a 16-time world champion. So whatever. I mean, to be fair, there are several Ric Flair title wins that were not officially recognized. So people are always confused by the numbers, but the number that has been used for the longest time was 16 times, and now it's 17 apparently. That might have just been a mistake. I feel like it was probably just a screw up with the graphics department. I don't think WWE's trying to count an extra reign at this point, unless they have a real problem with John Cena, but they plugged this charity that Cena was doing, so I don't think it's any kind of knock on John Cena or anything. I think it was just an honest mistake. We had this 5-on-5 match announced. Seth Rollins was introduced as Hulk Hogan's team captain, and Seth came out. He totally marked out for Hulk Hogan. He's like, what you gonna do when Seth Rollins and Hulk Hogan burn it down at Crown Jewel 2? And then we had Randy Orton come out as Ric Flair's team captain. Of course, that makes sense with Randy Orton and Ric Flair's connection with Evolution over the years. Orton cut a promo. He told Seth Rollins to crawl out of Hulk Hogan's ass. And then Randy Orton proceeded to challenge Seth Rollins to a captain versus captains match right there on the spot. Rollins accepted this. However, King Corbin came out with a scepter and beat up Seth Rollins. It was a 2-on-1 attack. And then Rusev, of all people, made the save for Seth Rollins. And then Rusev shook hands with Hulk Hogan, and it was announced that Rusev will be part of Team Hogan at Crown Jewel. And for those of you that missed it, Rusev recently got his American citizenship. So what better way to celebrate being an American citizen than posing on the stage with Hulk Hogan to Real American? There you go. We had Rusev interviewed backstage, and he was asked about Lana. Where is Lana? Rusev said he doesn't want to talk about his problems with Lana, so new storyline being developed here very abruptly, where I guess Rusev and Lana had some kind of marital issue. Rusev said he doesn't want to talk about Lana. He wants to talk about saving Rollins and how Rollins now owes him. And Rusev then proceeded to challenge Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship in the main event of Monday Night Raw. We had another AOPP promo, and they basically just talked about violence, lots of subtitles about violence, and two scary dudes talking with subtitles. Again, feels like the twins from Breaking Bad, if you ask me. We had the Viking Raiders against the OC, or the OCs, as Jerry Lawler put it. Pretty much a squash. I mean, OC got a little bit of offense, but they got no intro, and we did have a commercial break. And when they came back, you could hear the referee or somebody say, "We're live." Little botchamania moment right there. And Viking Raiders picked up the win. I believe it was Ivar. Might have been the other one. Ivar hitting the big splash off the top rope. 305 live to pin Luke Gallows. So there you go. OC on the way down. Is WWE already giving up on them again? Who knows? We had Brock Lesnar be announced that he was still in the building, so some kind of follow-up here was to come on Monday Night Raw. And then we had Cesaro interviewed. He talked about Lesnar. He said there was nothing criminal about Lesnar did, and he actually enjoyed it. He's just mad that Lesnar stole the chance for Cesaro to beat up Rey Mysterio's son. That's when Ricochet came in and said he didn't think that Cesaro would do a damn thing if he had the opportunity, and he said that Cesaro is not half the man that Rey Mysterio is, but does Cesaro have half the brain that Mysterio does? That's the question that Ricochet should have asked. And then Ricochet proceeded to challenge Cesaro to an impromptu match. Cesaro came out still in his street clothes, his pants and his shoes. And I guess that was the excuse for him losing, because Ricochet picked up the win with a Dragon Rana into a pinfall, which was basically a homage to the fallen Rey Mysterio. Then we had a Firefly Funhouse segment. The puppets were all scared, and Rambling Rabbit was so scared that he died once again. And for those of you that missed it last week, Rambling Rabbit had his head ripped off. This week he died from an apparent heart attack. So I guess that Rambling Rabbit is the new Kenny from South Park, where he dies every single week. Bray Wyatt cut a promo about Hell in a Cell. He said that what he's going to do, or what he is going to do in reference to The Fiend, he's going to be so scary that it's going to be like a world without chocolate. And that's pretty scary, but only worse. And then Seth said that, or not Seth, Bray said that Seth will be trapped inside Hell in a Cell with him, and Bray said he was going to go try and find him to tell him to be nice to Seth, but then quickly came back and said, just kidding, and waved to everybody, and that was the segment. We had AJ Styles versus Cedric Alexander for the United States Championship. Even though AJ was the champion, he got no pyro, so I guess U.S. champion isn't that big of a deal. We had a very game Cedric Alexander put up a good fight. Pretty good match here, although after Cedric got beat by AJ the other week, I really did not care much about this match. AJ did pick up the victory. He countered the lumbar check, hit the Styles Clash, and retained his championship. Pretty good match, but again, didn't really feel it all that much considering that AJ already beat him. Then we had the Street Profits cut their little promo. They mainly plugged NXT. They said that they are still NXT and they're going to beat the Undisputed Era. And then they talked about Bray Wyatt a little bit. Then we had Lacey Evans, the lady, versus Natalya, Robbie Vice's favorite wrestler. We had Natalya basically get no entrance, and Lacey won with rolling her up and grabbing the tights. Pretty much the same type of finish as what happened with Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss with the tight pulling. And yeah, not much to say about it. The Robo Buck with a $5 super chat. Robo Buck says he gives the leg drop to the current champion. I'm trying to remember who the last champion was. Mike D. So Mike D gets hit with the leg drop. 1, 2, 3. Robo Buck is the current champion, and he did it for the late, great Rambling Rabbit. I salute you, Robo Buck. Very, very nice of you to honor the fallen Rambling Rabbit who left us tonight on Monday Night Raw. Thank you for that, Robo Buck. I appreciate the super chat. We had a recap of the Rey Mysterio beatdown. We had Paul Heyman speak for Brock Lesnar and said that yes, Brock's attack was reckless and Heyman apologized for it. However, the blame should really go to Vince McMahon for allowing Heyman to book Brock Lesnar on Raw when Vince knows that Brock is in fight mode, because this Friday on SmackDown in Los Angeles, spoiler alert, Brock Lesnar is going to be the winner and reigning, defending WWE Heavyweight Champion of the world. We had Maria Kanellis interviewed. She was asked about Rusev, and Maria said Rusev is not the father, and Rusev has enough going on with Lana, and then she walked off. By the way, no 24/7 segments on this show. Nothing. No Carmella appearance. So I guess 24/7 championship, not 24/7, because there was no sign of it on this show. We had Sasha Banks appear and cut a final promo on Becky, although they may cut another one on Friday. Sasha said that Becky is not man enough for her. She is going to make Becky cry and tap out this Sunday at Hell in a Cell. And then we had a limousine arrive, so a little tease for the end of the show that we're going to see a surprise appearance. People speculating on Twitter. Some thought maybe it would be John Morrison. A few crazy people thought it was going to be CM Punk, but spoiler alert, it was neither of them. We had the main event. We had Seth Rollins come out for his match with Rusev. We had Randy Orton and Baron Corbin on the stage staring him down. We had a commercial break, and right before the commercial break, we had the little Bray Wyatt "Let Me In" screen pop up. And then when we came back, we randomly had Bobby Lashley show up. That's right. The man who looks like money. The man who smells like money. Bobby Lashley come back, but he wasn't alone. Lashley introduced Lana. Lana came out. This storyline feels very rushed, by the way. I mean, basically just randomly, one episode of Raw, Rusev and Lana are no more, and Lana has a new man. And that man is Bob the Lash. They started kissing. They started making out. Rusev was just very distraught about this. And then just when he was perhaps about to lose the match because he was distracted, we had the blackout. Bray Wyatt showed up, of course, put the mandible claw on Seth Rollins, and Raw went off the air with Bray Wyatt once again dominating the architect, the WWE Universal Champion, Seth Rollins. So that was the end of Raw. Very soap opera-like ending to the show. What did you guys think about Raw? It was a very eventful show. I was entertained by it. There wasn't really anything on this show that makes me think that Raw is going to be consistently entertaining. But for this week, I thought it was a pretty darn good show. So I'm going to give Raw a solid B. I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed the Brock Lesnar segment. Brock Lesnar segment I thought was an A, maybe even an A plus as far as a segment goes. I enjoyed the Miz TV segment. At least Hogan and Flair are being used for something. Yeah, it's Crown Jewel. It leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. But hey, you're going to bring on Hogan and Flair. You might as well do something with them and do something for the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. So whatever. I enjoyed it. Hogan and Flair were great. And I know some people didn't like it, but I enjoyed the end. I liked the soap opera storyline. I do feel it was very much thrown together. I wish that they would have done more of a build-up for it instead of just throwing it out there randomly. But hey, it's something at least. At least it's some kind of storyline, and you know, it's a soap opera. So there you go. I was fine with it. I see some people on Twitter like, oh, I can't wait for AEW now. Well, you know, we'll see what AEW does. We'll see if they try to do any kind of storylines, and I'm sure there's going to be stuff that AEW does that people will complain about because, you know, people tend to complain about things. I just wish it wasn't thrown together. Like, I like the soap opera storylines. I just feel like this was, you know, oh, we got to do something to be shocking, so we're just going to throw Lana out there with Bobby Lashley. Let's see the letter grades here. D-Ross2 gives it a B-. Tic Tat Tat with a B-. Eddie X162 with a B. Mr. Anderson with a C. Kid Dog with a B. Michael Wayne C+. Power Packers 90, who is very much an AEW fan, says FFFF. Colin Andrew gives it a solid B. CC Drink with a B. Henry 10 with a B. Mr. Anderson, I already said him. Chris Colt with a B. Caleb Jacobs with a C. Matt Helms with a B. Daniel Gonzalez with an A+. I don't know if I'd go that far. Kevin Bowman with an A+. Wow. Caitlin gives it a C. Daniel gives it an F. And Dr. Scorpio gives it a C. People's WWE channel gives it an A. So a mixed bag for Monday Night Raw this week. But I enjoyed it. You know, for the season premiere, I thought it was... And there were more things I was entertained by than not entertained by. And Power Packers 90 says, sorry, this Raw was an F, Aaron. Well, you know what? You got AEW this Wednesday. You got Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed, whatever his catchphrase is. So there you go. You got top tier entertainment from AEW this coming Wednesday. Josh Mansfield with a $5 super chat says, hey, Aaron, good to be back. College has been kicking my butt, which is why I haven't been around, and I don't have a TV in my room, so cannot watch much. No problem, Josh Mansfield. Thank you very much for your super chat. And you are the new No DQ Super Chat champion. So we'll say via the Big Boss Man Slam, Josh Mansfield is the brand new, reigning, and defending No DQ Super Chat champion of the world, which makes an appearance, unlike the WWE 24/7 Championship this week. And a quick plug, no live stream tomorrow night because, well, there's no SmackDown tomorrow night. Wednesday night, I will be back to do the live stream, No DQ Live, recap of AEW Dynamite. Make sure you guys check it out, and it will be on TSN in Canada. So for those of you north of the border, you'll get to watch the show. And for those of you in other countries like the UK, there's the whole Fight TV thing, I believe, where you can get that subscription service to watch it. And hopefully they'll have something better for the international fans over time. And then, of course, Friday, Staples Center, Los Angeles. I'll be there in sunny California. Good old JM Jeff Meacham will be doing the No DQ Live recap. And then Sunday night, hopefully I'll have Jeff on again. We'll recap the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view on No DQ and the YouTube channel. So make sure you guys subscribe, tell a friend, please spread the word if you can. Let people know about the NoDQ.com channel. And that's all I got for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys Wednesday night to recap AEW Dynamite. See you guys then.